It's been the most widely covered political race of the year and by far the most bitter. Virginia is solidly blue now, and Democrat Ralph Northam has long been expected to win an easy victory in a place where the Republican president is even less popular than he is in the rest of the country. But that is not what has happened. Republican Ed Gillespie has remained surprisingly close in the polls for months. Panicked, the Democratic establishment and their gophers in the national media have done what they always do in a pinch. They make it about race. Remember when Obama and his campaign told us that Bill Clinton was a racist during the 2008 primaries? Remember when the Hillary Clinton campaign said the same thing about Bernie Sanders just last year? When the going gets tough, Democrats charge racism. So naturally, Ed Gillespie has been transformed into Bull Connor for the purposes of this election. Just yesterday, the New York Times ran a strikingly dishonest piece that accused Gillespie of running, quote, a racially tinged divisive campaign. According to the New York Times, Gillespie's sins include attacking the Salvadoran street gang MS-13, opposing sanctuary cities, and criticizing Governor Terry McAuliffe's unilateral decision to restore voting rights to felons in the state. For this, Ed Gillespie is a bigot. Now, it would be amusing if it wasn't so poisonous. Ed Gillespie isn't a racist. If anything, he's too liberal for many Republicans in Virginia. A former corporate lobbyist from New Jersey, Gillespie has establishment views on virtually everything. He's strongly pro-immigration. He supports amnesty for DACA beneficiaries. He's never made race an issue in this campaign. He promised to crack down on MS-13 because it's a deadly criminal force with thousands of members, which, by the way, and not incidentally, targets almost exclusively Salvadoran immigrants. He made an issue at his sanctuary cities because they fuel the rise of MS-13 and they mock America's laws. He made an issue at felon voting rights because it was a naked political power grab by the Democratic governor. These aren't racial issues except in delusional Acela corridor newsrooms. Don't tell that to Politico, though. Its reporters accuse Gillespie of adopting, quote, racially charged culture war issues for daring to oppose monument vandalism and national anthem protests. Think Progress ran this headline, quote, Gillespie's campaign's final push for votes plays on hatred of black NFL protesters, end quote. Standing up for the national anthem is now white nationalism. The irony is there actually was racial demagoguery in this campaign, a lot of it, but it didn't come from Ed Gillespie or his supporters. In the closing days, supporters of Northam ran an ad suggesting that Ed Gillespie's voters wanted to murder minority kids. That's not a partisan interpretation of it. The ad actually said that. It showed a white man in a pickup truck with a Gillespie sticker trying to run over a bunch of kids, including a little Muslim girl, as they fled for their lives. The New York Times didn't even mention that ad until graph 14 of its hit piece on Gillespie yesterday. The ad got in the way of their storyline, apparently. Like all off-year elections, tomorrow's results will be scrutinized for larger lessons about American politics. You're going to hear people say the vote was a referendum on Trump, and to some extent that's true, it was. But it will also be a test of the Democratic Party's worst and most dangerous habit, inflaming racial fears to get voters to the polls. Does that tactic still work? Let's hope not. We'll find out tomorrow.